Hello, everybody. This is Matthew Jacobs, President of Media Relations. Alongside me today, Jeremy Fabin, owner and CEO of Ohio Weather Specialist. And today we're going to talk about a date that needs no introduction. It is like the Xenia tornado of 74 and the blizzard of 78. It is a day that will live in infamy for all time for people of Ohio. We're talking about the Memorial Day tornado outbreak that hit the Dayton area um, on May 27th, 2019.
Yes, that is true. That is one day that will remain in history books forever.
Today, we are going to talk about the setup on that day. We'll talk about all the tornadoes that actually touched down that day. And we'll be showing you a couple videos to illustrate the impact it had on the greater Dayton area.
Now, Matt, to be totally honest, you and I were watching this storm for at least a week, if not a little bit longer, before it actually the SPC model actually put us in the area it did. And if I'm right, you pretty much called uh, the tornadoes coming into Ohio, or the severity going to hit Ohio, because of the patterns that we were watching.
And that's correct. And, you know, it is actually kind of ironically funny because if we scroll down to the next slide here, this is a great product from the Storm Prediction Center. You've heard us talk about them before. They're the ones that look and into the future. I believe they go 8 days from the current day and forecast what weather could possibly happen. And if you look, um, the ironic thing about this is Dayton, Ohio, and the area around Dayton, Ohio only had a 2% chance for tornadoes when the SPC sent out this uh, tornado probabilistic tornado graphic here, which goes and coincides with the marginal risk that Dayton was under that day. And Dayton was the hardest hit area in Ohio. So it goes to show you, like we said before, forecasting is not an exact science. It is a lot of educated guessing. Obviously there are ingredients in place that will make weather conducive for severe weather. So obviously it's not all guessing. It's science backed up with a lot of educated guessing.
You're very right there. Like I always say, you can't tell what Mother Nature's going to do. You can predict, and that's one thing that the SPC does. Is it is the prediction of the weather pattern of what's going to happen,
Uh,
to the best of their knowledge, with the weather patterns and the humidity and all of the factors put in together, what they think is going to happen, the most probabilities of what's going to happen at that in them areas at that time. But if one little thing changes, it can completely change the entire outlook, which is what happened during the Memorial Day outbreak.
that's correct, Jeremy. And we are going to run down the events as they unfolded in timeline. And we're going to explain all of the damage that it caused. As a matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and put it out there. The tornado damage from every tornado that day was estimated to have done 1 billion with a B $1 billion in damage. And for the first time in the history of Dayton, there was a tornado emergency issued for downtown Dayton.
Yes, it actually went across. I think it was US Route 35, if I'm correct.
That is right, and it also, and we can go ahead and get into this picture here. This is I-75. This is a picture we found on Twitter from ODOT of Dayton. These are trees that were knocked down from the tornado on the west side. Yes. No, I'm sorry. The east side of the road would be Scene 75. So, any of you that are familiar with the Dayton area, they have like, I believe it's an arcade. I think they have go karts. There's a whole bunch of fun stuff to do there. That building actually sustained damage. And then it was like a double whammy for them because right when they got rebuilt, they got their insurance money and rebuilt, COVID hit and they were forced to shut down. So they went almost, I believe it was 2 years, just short of 2 years of not being in business. So um, they really went through the ringer, and it was a tough time for the people that owned Scene 75.
Now, just a little information also on this picture that you're showing. Just to let people know that the image that you're looking at is actually a picture taken out of the window of a snowplow.
That's
They
correct. That
they actually had to take snowplow onto the roadways to actually push the debris off the roads so that way they can actually make it travelable again.
Yep. And going back to where you were talking about us kind of, well, you gave me a lot of credit. I'll take it for once. um and it was once again, it's not that I'm smarter than anybody. It's just the way I happened to see that morning, the way the pattern set up, it just felt like that system was going to drop further south than what, because actually my county, Van Wert County, was in a bigger risk. We were in an enhanced risk for severe weather, and we didn't even see a thunderstorm or a severe thunderstorm in our county that night. And once again, really quick, I'll bring this back up. Dayton was under a marginal risk for severe weather that day and ended up having multiple tornadoes hit in the area. It was just something about the way that system set up. Um, and we talked about this a little bit the other night with Al when we did our Skywarn weather radio video, or yeah, radio video. That sounded weird. The the radio video. Um, we had talked a little bit about that. We were all on a weather team together and kind of all set and had a meeting that morning, and everybody else was kind of, more focused on my neck of the woods. And I was pretty much the only person that said, "Hey, I'm telling you, it's going to be south of me." And Salina down through Dayton, they're the ones that took the damage that day.
Very true. And that is one day that I will never forget in Chaser history. That's a day in my life that I had so much fear. It had fear and sorrow at the same time because two of my favorite people were right in the path of danger. And for the longest time, there was pure silence on the radio where I did not hear from neither Matt nor Al. And all I knew was a tornado, a very strong tornado had went right by Al's house, if not over Al's house, and one went close to Matthew. So I didn't know if they were okay or what. And, you know, it's something to take in that like we said the other video we just did, when we were discussing the supercells. Um, just because they say, and like with this storm here, for example, a 2% chance of having a tornado is all there was. And it ended up throwing out $1 billion worth of damage. Just take that in your stride. That is a lot off of just 2% chance.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, just to kind of give you an idea of what happened that night and the reason why Al and I kind of went radio silent for a while. Um, so my wife Rachel is from Brookville, and her parents lived in a plat that got hit, and so um, not trying to say anything bad about the team we used to be on, but there were some people that weren't focused on what needed to be focused on. So Al and I had to go remove ourselves, and we had to go into um, recon mode, for lack of better terms. We had to figure out a way we could get a hold of. It'd be my mother-in-law now. At the time she wasn't, or my father-in-law, or my sister-in-law now. They were all at the house. And we'll get into the Brookville tornado here in a little bit. But it hit the plat, and it hit right across the street. So it came in from the school. And so if their house is here, it came in from the school. I'm a little bit too high here, and this way, and missed their house literally like by that close. And the only damage they had were shingle damage, and so they were very lucky. But yeah, that's why Al and I kind of just went off in a private chat for a while, and um, we're trying to get Rachel involved, because all we were focused on was trying to find out if they were okay.
Right, yes. And the one that went in Brookville actually was, if I'm right, like right across the street from Rachel's mom and dad's house. So yeah, that tornado system, I mean, it the bad part was it started late at night. As late at night as it was, most people were in bed or relaxed, shoes off, watching TV or watching The Bachelor. And and yeah, you guys know who you are. But you guys are watching The Bachelor, or relaxing, and the storm come in and took everybody by surprise.
for for those of you, I'm going to cut you off really quick.
So do
For
you want
those
to tell
of
the
you
story?
who don't know that story, please go type in Jamie Simpson meltdown on TV. May have been one of the greatest live TV moments in the history of TV.
I I have to agree with you.
So they were live streaming their feed over the internet as well, and people were complaining because he cut and they kept cutting into The Bachelor. And what happened after that is it wasn't meant to be comedy gold, but I'm telling you, if you guys have ever watched Jamie Simpson, you'll know why that video is just it is priceless.
It was. It's one of the greatest ones I've seen.
Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into the list of tornadoes. I'll go ahead and we'll run some video. This is actually the tornado damage uh in Brookville. This is a video from Ben. I'm gonna say it's Halsey, um, who took his drone up after the tornado and got drone footage of the tornado damage. So I'll run some video for you while we're talking about the list of tornadoes, so you guys have something visually cool to look at while we're talking. But the day started at 10:02 when a tornado touched down west of Salina near Township Line Road and Bunker Hill Road, traveled west into Salina along Fairground Roads. The tornado tore the metal roofs off of several barns, blew down a 300-foot tall freestanding cellular tower, and unfortunately, Dale Hanna, at 82 of Salina, was killed while sleeping in his house on Fairground Road when a car was blown into his home and unfortunately landed right on top of him, and he did not survive. And then the tornado traveled into two subdivisions where several cars were lifted off the ground and thrown, and at least 2 dozen homes suffered severe damage, including one building which was lifted and moved 70 yards. The National Weather Service reported the tornado left damage indicative of 140 to 150 mile an hour winds and of multiple vortices within the tornado itself. That tornado stayed on the ground in Salina and ended at 2017 or 1017. And the tornado would actually recycle off and on as it traveled east into Auglaize County and further that way. But we'll get into that later. Jeremy, if you want to talk about the next tornado.
Yes, the West Milton tornado. At 10:25 p.m., an EF3 tornado touched down near West Milton, causing damage at an intersection near Stalker Road in Darke County. The tornado then traveled east, lifting trees. The damage became more significant as the tornado moved toward West Milton. Buildings and homes near Wright and Markley Roads had structural damage. On Range Line Road, near the Ohio 571 intersection, homes suffered major structural damage and were rendered uninhabitable, with exterior wall collapse and roof removal. The tornado moved east across Ohio 55 with a path of 3/4 miles wide. A weekend after passing Keller Road and turning to the southeast, where its damaged path narrowed before it dissipated. The NWS survey reported the tornado caused a long path of EF2 damage and EF3 damage in the Range Line Road area. It dissipated at 10:44 p.m. after traveling 10.8 miles across from Darke into Miami County. It was on the ground for a whole 19 minutes. Matt, now please tell us about the Dayton tornado.
Sure thing. I'm going to pull up another video here, of course. Lovely ads.
She's choking. Save her.
So this is brought to you by our friends over at 12 News. And they're going to show you some more damage from Brookville, Ohio. At 10:41, an EF4 tornado touched down on the west side of Brookville. It immediately inflicted damage on the west and south sides of Brookville, consistent with a high-end EF2 tornado, according to the National Weather Service. Brookville High School had significant damage. Other buildings and homes suffered wall collapses and have had their roofs blown away. The tornado headed east toward Trotwood and grew to an EF3. Buildings in Trotwood suffered significant and widespread damage across several neighborhoods and subdivisions. The tornado inflicted high-end EF3 damage with wind speeds of 150 to 165 miles per hour from Shiloh Springs Road and Westbrook Road to Turner Road. And unfortunately, that caused the complete destruction of the historic Hare Arena. And as it traveled to Riverside Drive and near the Stillwater River, the tornado grew to an EF4. The National Weather Service found significant damage in the area, including well-built apartment buildings with complete roof removal and exterior wall removal. Trees in the area were debarked and nubbed down to the trunk along the Stillwater River east of Riverside Drive. The tornado moved into the southeast into Old North Dayton and Northridge, where it crossed I-75 near Wagner Ford Road. And I closed it out. I was gonna say in that picture we looked at earlier of the plow pushing
The debris.
the debris, yeah, the trees off of the highway. That was from this tornado right here.
Yes.
And then after it tracked across Wagner Ford Road, the Northridge Shopping Center was destroyed, and the Trackside Hotel, located on the east side of the interstate, was also destroyed. Marathon gas station on Wagner Ford on the eastern side of the highway is flat. Northridge's Grafton Kennedy Elementary had major damage, with walls on its west side of the school building collapsed. And the residential neighborhood south of Wagner Ford is hit hard, with most homes suffering roof removal and other several damage. The tornado entered Riverside and its strength began to fall to an EF1. The National Weather Service reported that the tornado lifted from the ground just west of the Greene County line. Hours before the tornado hit, Catherine Claiborne was reported missing. Her body was found over a week later under piles of brush and debris next to a creek connected to the Stillwater River. So, unfortunately, what they think happened is this woman suffered from dementia and she got lost and couldn't find her way home. And that's why it was reported before that she was missing. And that's how she ended up being out and about during the tornado. And that's how, unfortunately, she lost her life.
Actually, yes. I remember when we took when we went with Albert, he actually took us around in Dayton after the Memorial Day tornado, of course. He took us the entire path of it, and we got photos and video of all over the path of it. And that was one of the areas that he pointed out to us is where they actually found her body, and told us the story about that, which was really it was really touching to hear the story.
Yeah, and this is another video. This is from Trotwood into Old North Dayton. So this EF4 tornado, where it started out as an EF2, moved to an EF3, and then eventually an EF4. This drone footage from John, and I'm sorry, I'm probably going to butcher your last name, Belluardo. He took the path of the tornado, and you can see off and on here where there's damage. So, Jeremy, if you want to pick up the next tornado here.
Here we are in Beaver Creek, if I'm correct.
Troy.
Yeah.
1047.
Where are we at? 1047. Okay, 10:47 p.m. An EF0 tornado developed south of Troy from the same storm that caused a tornado near West Milton. According to the National Weather Service, it damaged a residence on Monroe Concord Road and knocked down dozens of trees in a subdivision south of Swells Road. It also damaged a barn on County Road 25A. After crossing Ohio 202, the tornado dissipated. At 11:03, near Ohio 41, the tornado traveled 5.7 miles It had a maximum width of 200 yards, which is twice the size of a football field. It was on the ground for 16 minutes, according to the National Weather Service. At 11:08 p.m., another EF0 tornado appeared in Elizabethtown in Miami County, along Ohio 41, just south of Alkeny Road. The tornado uprooted and snapped several trees before it quickly dissipated. It was on the ground for 1 minute, 11:09 p.m. It traveled at 70 miles an hour for 50 yards. Hey, Matt, would you like to take the next one or would you like me to keep going?
Why don't you go ahead, Jeremy? The last two were small, so I'll give you, since I had to read all about the EF4 tornado, I'll give you the Beaver
I'm
Creek
excited.
tornado.
I am excited. We're going with Beaver Creek, guys. At 11:12 p.m., we had an EF3 tornado hit the ground near the Page Manor subdivision in Riverside. The tornado crossed the Greene County soon after and left a continuous path of damage in an eastern direction across northern Beaver Creek and into Xenia Township. Yes, that's right. We brought Xenia into it now. The National Weather Service reported homes near I-675 and Grange Hall Road had significant damage with exterior wall collapse and roofs blown away, consistent with an EF3 tornado. Homes along Garden View and Wendover Drive had windows shattered, garage doors collapsed, and entire roof structures removed. Down power lines shut down Beaver Creek businesses while entire subdivisions were blocked off due to hundreds of downed trees. The tornado caused damage along Fairground, Beaver Creek, and Ludlow Roads and into Xenia Township. The EF3 tornado ends near US 68 in Xenia Township at 11:32 p.m. after it inflicted heavy damage on Beaver Creek. The tornado was a maximum 0.7 miles wide, almost 1 mile wide, and traveled only 10 miles. At 11:19 p.m., an EF0 tornado appears near Phillipsburg, around the Montgomery County and Miami County line. The tornado damaged farm equipment along Ohio 721 and caused roof damage to some homes and buildings. The tornado threw a grain bin into a field near North Diamond Mill Road. The tornado dissipated at 11:24 p.m. It was on the ground for a whole 6 minutes with a maximum 50 yards wide with 80-mile-an-hour winds.
Really quick, and the interesting thing about these tornadoes, that was a part of a cluster of 2 or 3 tornadoes that actually almost mirrored each other in their path. Diamond Mill Road is the road. I believe it's Westbrook, and then it turns into Diamond Mill Road, correct, Rachel? So, when it let the EF4 tornado, which eventually became the EF4 tornado, as you can see on the screen, they damaged the Hare Arena there.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's sad.
But there were 2 or 3 tornadoes that actually traveled down Diamond Mill Road on that night. So a lot of the same areas were hit repeatedly in a short amount of time on that evening. The next tornado occurred at 11:19 and it appeared near
Nope, next.
11:34. I'm sorry. An
Yeah.
EF2 tornado touched down south of I-70 near Little York Road and Dogleg Roads in Butler Township, according to the National Weather Service. The tornado, with a maximum wind of 135 miles per hour, traveled just a few miles north of the storm path of the EF4 tornado that traveled from Brookville to Riverside. So there you go. There's another one.
There's
the,
another one.
the quarter-mile wide tornado removed roofs off homes in the Cricket Lane and Coppersmith Avenue areas. Tornado removed trees as it traveled across I-75, causing EF1 damage to several businesses. Tornado that traveled along or through Butler County and across I-75 dissipated at 11:32 after being on the ground for 11 minutes and 7.6 miles.
Okay, we're going with the Jamestown tornadoes. Now we're getting closer to my area. 11:48 p.m. A tornado landed near Lakey Road outside of Jamestown. One home on Paulin Road had damage to its siding, while one home on
Really quick, Jeremy, I don't mean to cut you off, but there's a better look at those high-rise apartments that we passed.
on the bridge. I got you.
Yep, they're going across that bridge that Al took us across. They just wanted to bring that to your attention because I know you didn't really get a good look out of the passenger seat of the car. So I just wanted you to see that really quick.
Yes, that right there was a very, very emotional spot, was where those high-rise apartments were.
And then it wasn't too far the other way. So he's pointing out the passenger side, be the driver's side. It was just a little bit up the road that way is where unfortunately they found the other lady that perished during the tornado.
Yes, you're totally correct. Yeah, we, like I said, we got all kinds of pictures and some video of this area, and it was very heart-wrenching. It really was. And the funny thing is, when we went by there, it had been at least a year after the anniversary of the outbreak, and it's sad to say that I would say 90% of the damage is still there. Not much has been repaired. A lot of brand new, $500,000 houses that were being built are still in the same condition they were when the tornado hit. There's still houses still just tore up, businesses tore up, and no one's done anything with them. It's just they left them alone.
Yeah, it's very true, Jeremy. And a lot of it is, unfortunately, people just had outdated insurance that just couldn't cover the cost of the damage that were caused by the tornadoes on that day. So it's not that they didn't want to build it. It's just they just did not have the means to.
Exactly, which brings up a really good thing that we should mention, and it wasn't on our agenda, but since you brought it up, we might as well bring it to people's attention. Always, you need to check on your insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance. Make sure everything's up to date, just in case the inevitable does happen. Make sure you do have insurance to cover you during any kind of natural disaster. It takes you 5 minutes to make that phone call to make sure you're good to go in case something does happen.
Very, very true, Jeremy. And I'm just gonna pull up. This is actually somebody that's on I-75 is
I remember seeing this video.
YouTube channel is Ohio Herper 17. This is actually a really good video. I'm gonna skip past him talking and get to the actual.
Yeah, I remember when he was actually right there.
But yeah, so I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you were talking about the Jamestown tornadoes.
Yeah, I was at the tornado dissipated at 11:57 p.m. So it started at 11:48, ended at 11:57, according to the National Weather Service. The tornado was on the ground for 9 minutes with maximum wind speeds of 105 miles an hour. It was 250 miles wide.
Yards.
I'm sorry, yards. My God,
250 miles wide, boy. That would
it was as big as Texas. Yeah, it was 250 yards wide. I'm sorry, I was watching the video while I was doing a reading.
um
I could not help myself.
and then to finish it up, there was another tornado at 12:23 a.m. So we're actually into the next day now that touched down on South Charleston South Charleston Road, northeast of Jamestown. The storm damaged large trees on both sides of the road and destroyed a shed behind a house. According to the National Weather Service, the tornado heavily damaged a 2-story home on Rogers Road, destroying the roof and caving in the walls on the top story of the home. The tornado ended at 12:32, so 9 minutes, and a damage path of 4.2 miles. Its maximum wind speed was 120 miles per hour, and it had a path of 250 yards. So, like you said, that's 2.5 football fields right there.
Now, Matt, you remember my infamous picture of the Buckeye tree, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is where the picture was taken out. Was actually in Jamestown. Believe it or not, yeah, it was in Jamestown, and it was what was it, a 50-year-old Buckeye tree that got broken in half from that tornado that went through Jamestown. Just snapped it right in half.
And this is a video from the NATO nation. Just wanted you to take a look at this. This is actually kind of funny. His YouTube channel is called the NATO Nation, and he was actually traveling through Dayton on the night of the storm. And yeah, don't mind the timestamp there. Obviously, it's wrong. It says 4:26. It's 5:27, but that threw me for a minute. But he was traveling to South Carolina when the I-75 tornado passed right in front of him.
Oh, wow.
So we'll let this play and we can discuss a little bit more about that night and kind of a rundown of how it went for us. I was actually in Bern, Ohio, and I was just south of the supercell thunderstorm that produced the eventual EF3 tornado in Dayton or in Salina. I'm sorry. And to be honest with you, we probably put ourselves just a little bit too close to that storm for the simple fact of the wind and the rain was something I've never experienced in my life. And to be honest, I hope I never have to again because not saying that my wife and I are perfect or don't fight at all, but that's probably the loudest I've ever yelled at her in the 3 years we've been together. So
I've seen part of the video, and yeah, like you said, we were on a different storm team back then. You, Rachel, Al, and a bunch of other people. And when this storm hit, not I would say not even 2 minutes before it hit, I I was actually signing off to go to bed because I thought, it's nighttime. Nothing's gonna happen. It'll just be a rain event. Little lightning, thunder. I'll sleep good. I'm going to bed. I signed off, and Matt will tell you as soon as I signed off, um, not 2 minutes later, someone mentioned about the tornado, and I signed off. But this is Battalion 3 put me back in service, and I was in service. I kid you not, from the minute the tornado formed, the very first tornado formed, I don't remember if it was in Salina or Dayton, but I did not go to sleep until the very next night. And I don't think Matthew or Al did either. I think we were up for quite a while because everything went from at that point, excuse me, everything went from storm chasing, weather spotting to search and rescue and doing what we could to help the communities at that moment in time. Um, I think the rest of the world just went blank for us. I know it did for me, and all I was concerned about was everybody that was involved in these tornadoes. And like I said, the rest of the world was just blank to me.
If I can speak for a minute, it's like Al and I said the other night in the video. Um, I think we took about a 4-second pause when we heard. So if you look at the path of the EF4 Dayton tornado, to be honest with you, that looked like it was going to head way north of Brookville, and it took like a hard right turn. And so
Yeah.
I'm talking to Rachel's mom and dad, and I said it looks like it's going to go north of you. You guys should be okay. And 4 minutes later, I'm calling them back saying, get to your safe spot, and ride it out because it's coming right into Brookville, and it did. And when Al found out, because with being in amateur radio, he has, he hears the talk, the chatter going on, and as soon as he heard that their plat got hit, we call it subdivisions up here, plat, subdivision, whatever you're used to hearing. Um, but it hit their plat, and I think Al and I took a good 4-second breath, and then we went to work, and it was like a good probably 30 hours of coordinating people and getting them with the Red Cross in Salina, and then eventually Dayton, and um you know um finding out if people were okay, just nonstop. Yeah. Red Bull definitely gave me wings
Mm.
over those that day and a half, 2 days, because you know, uh just that empty feeling of not knowing if you just lost somebody, if they were hurt, and I think it may have been like 5 to 10 minutes that I went without talking to them, maybe 15 at the most, but it felt like an eternity.
In all honesty, and I think I said this when it was all over with, and we all finally said, you know what, we're good. We're going to go to bed. When that happened, the way that we handled everything, you, Rachel, Al, and I, the way we actually coordinated with everything and the way everything went so smoothly impressed me so much. Um, it was almost like we had trained for this our whole lives and knew exactly what each other was supposed to do and what each other was going to do, and we did it. And it seemed like it went so smoothly, for the four of us when it went down. There wasn't a lot of ruffles. anything like that, communication wise. I just think that that right there, it made us stronger. Uh, Going through that, seeing it, having loved ones in the situation they were in, and the fear, it actually puts a new perspective on things.
Well, and you have to think of this. Between you being in the military, me being a coach and being trained in, Skywarn NIMS, um, first aid and all that stuff, the field that Rachel works in and all the patience and understanding she has to have with the individual she works for, and Al being in fire and rescue for the years that he's been in fire and rescue. Um, Even though in real time you never know how you're going to respond to it, you know, it's those things that probably kept us sane and cool and collective, and we were able to pull it together. And even though, like I said, there was that 15-20 minute period of people not knowing what was really going on, when we finally heard from Rachel's mom and dad, and then Al and I were able to get back on and um, you know, get back to team stuff. It was just like riding a bike, really, even though we'd never done it before, it was just that easy to pick up on it and just run with it.
Right. You're very true. We were all in different professions. But when it came down to it, we just fit together like hand in glove in all reality. But it goes to show everybody that when when an emergency does break out, um, storm spotters. Once again, we don't just spot storms when an emergency arises. We switch roles and we go into whatever position we need to be in at that moment in time.
And I will give it to our team. Um, our old team as a whole. I mean, obviously we went our separate ways, but I think as a whole, that whole entire team, if we would have operated like the way we did that night every day, I think that would have been a great team to be a part of. But unfortunately, we didn't have that camaraderie and that unity
Mhm.
every day. But that's not what I'm actually just trying to give them a lot of credit. Everybody involved with that team. We had members from Bowling Green who came down to Salina immediately.
Oh yeah.
Rachel and I, yeah, it might have been for selfish reasons, but we went to Brookville the next day and we were going around. And yeah, we were surveying storm damage, but we were checking on people too. Do you need water? Do you need a ride anywhere? Do you need a cell phone? Is there anything we can do to help? You know, um, People sprung into action quick, and you know, we might not have been part of search and rescue, but we were there to help, try to help with the recovery. And that's what, if you sign up for stuff like this, that is what you should be signing up for. It's not just go look at storms and ooh, this is fun, which that is big part of it. But you also have to sign up for all of it. Unfortunately, we are in the business of weather, and weather can and will take lives. It will destroy property. It will do the unthinkable things that no are just unfathomable. That word, unfathomable. um, just like today. And I know mostly we like to talk about Ohio weather, but just to bring it back to unpredictability, um, Salina had more, or Salina, California had more mudslides again today. And they're ordering evacuations. And it's like, these people, poor people, haven't been through enough with all the mudslides they've had in the past couple months, and wildfires and everything else that they're going through. Here's another mudslide, and um, the massive flooding. I don't know if you've seen the video yet, Jeremy, of Louisville, but there are parts of Louisville completely underwater right now
Yes.
due to flooding from the Ohio River. It was just a couple years ago, maybe five, give or take a couple years ago. That happened to the greater Cincinnati area too, where the Ohio River came out of its banks and flooded.
Yeah, crested and went into the city itself. Yes, Portsmouth likes to flood a lot too, believe it or not.
Well, yeah, it's right there on the border. But yeah, in the whole point of bringing that up, and we've talked about. I think you brought up the Nashville tornado in January. We had last year the two Troy tornadoes. I think one was in Troy and one was on the other side of Troy, but in January. So it's unpredictable. I mean, like you can see here. I mean, I couldn't go on my best day and knock that tree down with my hands. Tornado made it look like, it was just a rag doll. So that is why we say we never want you to be scared of weather, but we want you to have a healthy respect for it and understand what weather is capable of. But you can learn to have like I said, a healthy respect for it and still not panic during storms because panic and Jeremy being in the military, this more than most. Panic only leads to more problems.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Never panic. If you panic, you'll fail. That's just being honest. I stay calm more than most people do because someone has to stay calm to be able to get things done properly. Matthew, you're right. When it comes to the weather, you have to learn to respect the weather more than anything. If you respect it and learn about it, then there's no reason to fear it. Um, because if you know what it's capable of doing and you know what it could do and it's possible of doing, respect it and say, okay, there's a chance it's going to do this. I need to prepare for that situation. And by preparing for the worst, you hope for the best, and chances are you're going to make it.
Yep. And to piggyback off of that, I think the one thing what's that?
I said we got the Martian gun again. I can't help it.
The one thing that I've learned, and this is kind of a hokey thing, but I am completely enamored with Dr. James Spann. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his work. Incredible meteorologist in the Birmingham, Alabama area. And during the 42711 outbreak, he coined the term respect the polygon. Respect the polygon. And that day, people don't realize how many lives that man has actually saved because from the time the first tornado hit and they were under a PDS watch that day, which is the most extreme watch that you can have. It means there's a particularly dangerous situation in your area.
Yeah, that means you better get to safety. That's not a warning. That's not a watch. That is, it's going to come. It's something serious is going to happen.
And the one thing that always stuck out for me watching that 13-hour coverage, because it literally started in four in the morning and ended at about 4 in the morning. Is he said treat every warning like it's a tornado on the ground, and get to your safe spot, and we'll get through it. And
Mhm.
that's how I view all storms. Um, because I think one thing, a big misconception, and this is something I meant to touch on yesterday in the yesterday's video that I'm gonna
Yeah.
put up here tomorrow, and along with this one, people often hear, well, there's no tornado on the ground, so I'm okay. Or there was a tornado on the ground and it's lifted, so I'm okay. There are
No.
two things you need to understand about tornadoes. There's a Before a tornado touches down, it goes through different cycling.
Mhm.
It'll go through different phases before it touches down. So just because it's not on the ground at that moment doesn't mean it can't touch down before it gets to your house. And then to top it off, um, just because a tornado goes back up doesn't mean a tornado is done. There have been several tornadoes that go through a recycling phase.
Yeah.
If you actually go and look at the tornado path of the F4 tornado, that mesocyclone or parent uh, cloud of that storm actually um, dropped down a tornado, I think 2 more times that night. So it wasn't that it was from a separate cell, it was the same cell that continued to travel and recycle. And that's what people need to understand. Just because a tornado goes down and comes back up does not mean that you're out of danger's way. So, oh, it's up. I don't have to worry about it. I can go about my business. No. Recycling is a thing that storms do all the time. And that's something you need to be aware of, especially going into severe weather season. That is something you need to know that storms, just because it's a tornado warning and there's nothing on the ground, doesn't mean it's not a dangerous situation. I mean, beyond a tornado, there's damaging winds, hail, cloud to ground lightning, and
Mhm.
the potential for flash flooding or actual river flooding. So,
Not,
there
not to, I was going to say, not to mention all the other kinds of weather anomalies that can happen that we haven't mentioned, like gust tornadoes and stuff like that, that we didn't even mention yet, that happen from storms themselves that could be dangerous.
That's correct. If you go back, we do have a video on our YouTube channel that discusses all those types of wind events, all the different types of clouds, what clouds form, supercell thunderstorms, all of that stuff is covered in a video that I did. I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago now, or posted 2 weeks ago now.
Mhm.
It covers what the difference between an advisory, a watch, and a warning are, all the different levels that the SPC outlook, uh, and the different outlook, the risk definitions. That's what I'm trying to say. The risk definitions from the outlook. It has just about everything you could want and more in there. So if you're a weather enthusiast, if you're somebody who needs to know more about weather or wants to know more about weather, or if you just want to brush up on some things, I would highly recommend watching that video just because it literally covers every type of weather event.
Now, isn't that the question, the Q&A one?
Correct. Yeah, we were getting a few questions. So I tied Q&A in with a just kind of educational video. So there were a lot of kind of overlapping questions that were kind of similar. So I figured,
Right.
well, why not just go ahead and cover it all? And this way people can learn and grow in their weather knowledge.
Very good. And if anybody has any questions at all weather related, feel free to leave a comment or send us a message, email us, anything, and we will make sure to give you the answer. We will find the correct answer and we will give it to you.
That's correct, Jeremy. I'll run down all of the ways you can get in contact with us. On Instagram and Facebook, we are at Ohio Weather Specialist. On Twitter, we are at OWS 2019. Here on YouTube, if you're not subscribed, we are at Ohio Weather Specialist. And if you know people that are into weather and you come across this video and you think that this would be something for them, go ahead and let them know about us. You can also find us on, or you can email us at Ohio Weather Specialist at gmail.com, or you can get in contact with me at ows.mediarelations at gmail.com for any questions. Maybe you want media requests, maybe you want to interview us, or you have an interesting story about a storm that you lived through, maybe a tornado, maybe a blizzard. Maybe you've been struck by lightning twice. Maybe you've had your house be flooded or something like that. If you have any kind of unique weather stories that you think need to be shared, get in contact with us. We'll do a Skype call, a Zoom, a meeting, whatever works best for you. We will work with you.
I agree. I would love for people to get a hold of us so we could do some Skype or Zoom meetings, or some type of interview with you to hear about these storm stories you got, whether you were playing golf and got struck at the ninth hole and got a hole in one, or you were outside flying a kite and got struck by lightning. Let us know, because we're really interested in this stuff, and there's billions of other people out there, whether they're kids or they're adults or they're middle-aged or even older. They're interested in this stuff too, and we'd love to hear your story. And not only that, we'd love to share your story with everybody else. So please feel free to contact us.
That's correct, Jeremy. And just a couple more things to go over. If you liked this video, we are going to start a series of all the unique, significant, and downright interesting weather events in the history of Ohio. This was the start of that series, so be sure to check out all those videos if you are somebody who is an enthusiast about weather, somebody who likes to learn the science behind weather, any of that kind of stuff. We have you covered here. Also, we are starting a children's program, and I know we mentioned that on another video, but I definitely want to make sure that you guys give them some love too, because they're going to be doing some very, very unique and fun science experiments, some weather related videos. They're going to be, I think right now we've decided they're going to be doing 3 videos a week. And on Sunday, they're going to be doing a word of the week. And they're going to tie all their videos and experiments in with the word of the week. So they're going to be teaching not only kids their age, but maybe they can teach you something as well. And also, if you are a photographer, a videographer, if you are somebody who likes to chase weather, if you are really good with social media, if you like to web design, if you like to run radar, would like to learn radar, we have openings at Ohio Weather Specialist, and we are looking for anybody that is willing to put in 7 hours a week. That's all we're asking of our team members. 7 hours, an hour a day. And it doesn't have to be 1 hour each day. You can get in where you fit in. But we're looking for you. Like I said, if you're a videographer, photographer, social media expert, if you know how to run YouTube better than I do, if you are somebody that likes to get out in the field and go look at weather, if you are somebody that wants to learn radar or be a safety, a person who is kind of coordinate safety for the team. Um, we would love to have you on board. We are currently a small team of just a few people. And as much as we all love each other, sometimes we're stretched thin with our home lives and weather team and jobs and whatever else we have from our day to day. And we need your help. I mean, we'll just put it out there. We not only need you, but we want to bring more people on. The more people that we have on this team, the safer we can keep our 88 counties in Ohio. Because when we say our communities, we don't just mean Fayette County and Van Wert County. We're talking about Allen and Bucyrus and Licking and Hocking and every county in this state. We are dedicated and devoted to keeping each and every one of you safe.
You're completely correct. When we say our community is Ohio. That's our community. It's not a town. It's not a county. It's everybody in Ohio. So I don't care if you live in a one room shack, in northeastern Ohio. You're in my community. You're in our community, and we're here for you. And you're correct. We do have a very small team, and we are running a little thin, but we would like to have some valuable members on our team to help out, to get in where you fit in.
Um, one other thing I would say too, if you live on a border county or somewhere close, like so for me, we have Adams County, which is Decatur, Indiana. Reach out to us too. We would love to coordinate with you guys just for the simple fact your weather becomes our weather. If you guys live down there around Richmond, Indiana, up into I can't think of the name of the county. Of course it slipped my mind. It always ends up being that way, isn't it? But if you live near Ohio, and I say Indiana, but I include parts of Kentucky in there too, and if you guys are watching us from another state and you kind of live close to Ohio, and you guys want to work together to keep not just our community, our state safe, but your state as well. Because we can coordinate and have valuable life-saving radar and communication with each other. So if you live on the border and you're interested in seeing what we're about, give us a shout and we'll work something out with you as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. We love you all, and would love to help those that we can, and welcome everybody with arms open.
Oh, did you just go Creed on him there?
I
With
sure
arms
did.
wide
Wide
open.
open.
But yeah, in all seriousness, and I know I say this a lot in almost every video. When we say like, comment, subscribe, it's not about fame or fortune, because do you realize how many YouTube viewing hours you have to have or how many subscribers you have to have just to make a nickel? So,
Nickel back. You get the nickel back.
right. Oh, look at this photograph. Oh, anyway, we're moving on from that. We say it because we want to make this channel and all our forms of social media as not only as the putting forth the best quality content we can, but we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to keep you safe and out of harm's way during severe weather, whatever weather event it may be. And so that's why we will like to see the likes and the comments and the subscribers, just so we know we're doing a good job and you guys are noticing the effort we are putting into it. Because without you, what are we? We're just some guys sitting here talking about weather that, nobody really cares about. So,
singing Creed and Nickelback songs.
yeah, at 12:58 a.m. So, on, on that note, we are going to sign off for the night. Once again, I'm Matthew Jacobs, President of Media Relations with Ohio Weather Specialist.
And I'm Jeremy Fabian, President and CEO owner of Ohio Weather Specialist.
Thank you all, and you have a great night.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yep. Hit that button somewhere,
Right down here.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, down here. There
and then
you
click
go.
and then click the bell.
Click the bells on this side. Yeah, bells on this side and subscribe on the other.
Click the stuff there other than blocking us.
Yeah, that.
All right. You have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.